My name is Liz. I'm a personal assistant in an insurance broker. It first started back in 2002. I actually went into a depression. What caused me to go to the doctor in the first place is I was in a controlling relationship with my boyfriend, and also at work I was being bullied as well. So I had the combination of the two, and I was drinking heavily, I was into drugs and things like that, and I think it was a combination of everything that just pulled me right down. And I just felt there was nowhere to go. I just laid in bed and I couldn't stop crying. I just could not stop crying. I had to go with my sister to the doctors because she was really worried about me. So, and I'm not like that. I'm not that kind of person at all. So to have this, it just came out of the blue. On the other end of the spectrum, I did have a lot of things happen within a short space of time. I got promoted at work. I had my nose job done. And I then obviously split up with my fella. I actually went to see a medium. And she said to me, in May, she said, the best thing will happen to you. And so in your mind, you think, oh, something's going to happen to you, something's going to happen to you. And it was really strange because I kept going up to people and saying things. And it was like, how did you know that? How do you know? It was like I was psychic. The more and more this happened, the more and more I was having this feeling of like euphoria and maybe I'm special. And trouble is, what happened was I'd lost all rationalisation in my head. I thought I was the chosen one. I thought I was Jesus' sister. I thought I had magical powers and I thought I could save the world. I wanted to gather all my disciples together and I wanted to change the world. That's all I wanted to do, make it a better place for everybody else. Trouble is, as I'd lost all my rationalisation, my thoughts were I was having so many thoughts coming into my head, I just couldn't concentrate. All I wanted to do was prove to people that I had special powers and I wanted to stop a train. So my boss actually, lucky for me, spotted it at work that I was super, super confident and called my parents in to work, who took me to the doctors. And at this point I was jumping around saying, you're not listening to me, you're not listening to me. I'm going to save the world. Why is no one listening to me? They then took me to a care coordinator who actually assessed me again, which then I was taken to the Linden Centre in Chelmsford. I thought I was actually being taken to Rydale High because I was in film mode. It was like I was on a film. And all I thought, any second now, the bell's going to go off and we're just going to run out into, Rydale High, the end song that goes, we go together and things like that. I thought that's going to happen. But then I thought I was on top of the pops. This was all happening. I was in front of a panel of people and they were asking me questions. Do I hear thoughts? Do I hear voices and everything like that? And obviously I tried as best I could to explain the situation, but I was all jumble. They then took me into a room and they injected me because obviously I was, saying things that I wanted to stop a train and everything like that, and I'd be resurrected. I then they actually diagnosed me then as having bipolar because I'd gone through the depression and obviously then went to the psychotic high mode. I was 30 and I was actually sectioned under the Mental Health Act for a month. Right. My family, it was a shock to them, complete shock. And, my mum still gets upset about it now and I still get upset about it now, It's a huge thing for my family to go through and see me in psychosis. They don't like seeing it and it is very upsetting for them. I've got a partner now who is absolutely amazing and has seen me in hospital 4 or 5 times and knows the signs and spots the signs when he sees me going into episode. So obviously addresses it. We up my medication, we self-medicate, or we'll ring the crisis team, or we'll ring, some support area in order to help. But, I've had relationships where people aren't talking to me now because of it. They judged me. I had an incident with one of my sister's best friends who, when I turned up at the school to pick my nieces up, she actually spoke to the head teacher and said, how dare you let Liz come to the school? She shouldn't be there. You should have warned us. Really? Sort of, I'm a human being. I have issues or whatever that I deal with, but I'm not going to, and I think it's lack of education regarding mental health, and I think, the more people sort of find out information or learn from myself about different things, it's going to help people. And I don't speak to her, my sister doesn't speak to her now, so I have lost relationships through it as well. Work are absolutely amazing. My current job is absolutely brilliant. My boss, actually at the interview, when I was interviewed recently, I actually told him I've got bipolar, and or what I do, or the volunteering I do in schools and for the NHS and everything like that. And he couldn't believe it. He said, "You are the last person that I would have thought had got bipolar." He said, "You always come across so positive, so, And I said, "Well, you can't always tell what's going on in someone's mind." And he said, "I support you 100%. He said, "In fact," he said, "because you've been so open and honest to me," he said, "when can you start?" My first episode, I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I would have jumped in front of that train without a shadow of a doubt. No one would have changed my mind. I would have done it. And lucky for me, I was saved. My episodes with psychotic, they happen very quick. I get rapid thought. I start speaking quickly. I'm not listening to anybody. I think that everything I say is right. I also get extremely spiritual, as in I get connections from spirit all the time, but even more so. I'm going to do anyway, but it's like they're all like, it's not voices, it's just a sixth sense. It's not like schizophrenia where people can hear voices. It's just like thoughts in your head, and it's loads of thoughts. I mean, people on the whole have loads of thoughts anyway, but it's probably more of a rapid cycle of thoughts. I probably get more confident, much more confident, and not. I've got no filter at all. Like normally, if someone approaches me and you think something, you normally hold back not to offend them. Oh no, it just comes straight out. When you're in a psychotic mode or in that sort of mode, it's like you're super intelligent, because you're so quick thinking all the time. It's like the film Limitless. I don't know whether anyone's seen it, Bradley Cooper, when he takes that drug. He's like that. All of a sudden, everything is so clear. It's like you can see the world, and you're like Superman. It's just the most bizarre thing, and you can pick up on anything and hear anything. Don't treat people that are going in like mental health as idiots, because we're not. Even if we're in psychosis, we know what is going on in the back of our minds. Although we probably, there's a lot of other things going on, we do know what's going on to a certain degree. If you're in psychosis, it is people like talking blah, 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 like that, or they're not listening to you, and it's that sort of, and then coming out with maybe, when you talk normally, I mean, my family can identify if something's if I say something, they'll think, is she going? And sometimes they question me, and that sometimes annoys me, because I think, no, I'm not. But then maybe they've seen, because they've obviously experienced it for the last 15 years, they can see it more than maybe me, although I do feel like I can feel it coming on. I've had loads of episodes throughout the years, mainly psychotic episodes, and nowadays I make sure I sleep. I regularly take my medication. I don't drink anymore. I do a lot of mindfulness, a lot of meditation, a lot of going for walks, lots of exercise, everything that is good for you. I eat healthily, and and try and do the best for me in order to sort of control my psychosis. Because, as I said before, I do actually suffer mainly from psychosis. I'm not a depressive person. The only time I went into depression was my first episode, and then the amount of medication they gave me to bring me down at the hospital, I went into another depression, and then I wanted to commit suicide at the other end. But that was only because of the amount of medication they gave me. And since then, I've had probably about 8 or 9 psychotic episodes.